Sky High Task, Stage 2 in Costa Atardecer, Chiapas. Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of SnowRunner here at Opafed Gaming. I am the Opafed. We are leaving the garage here in our Mercer R230 on our way over to the flooded town, where we are going to pick up a sideboard trailer. Now, this particular job that we are in, Sky High, was 2 stages. Now, unbeknownst to me, and I did not realize this, and I've been playing this game for a little while now, when a task comes up and it shows you on the mini map that your cargo that you need is available on the map. You don't have to go to a warehouse or nothing, but it's sitting on a little trailer. You can be assured that that's a 2-stage job. Now, I delivered two big crates of service spare parts in the last video in the Jiangsu over to the Southern Lighthouse. But this sideboard trailer that's in the flooded town has 2 of those service spare parts in them. So I could have done the whole task in one shot. And so what happens is if you take the 2 service spare parts from a warehouse and bring them over, then the game will tell you, now we need the trailer. So the next time when you got a task to do, see if the cargo that you need is on the map on a trailer somewhere, and save yourself a little bit of a headache in delivering both in one shot. Anyhow, we didn't do that, so we have delivered the service spare parts already, and now we're going to go and get that sideboard trailer. Now, as it is, the sideboard trailer has got the boxes in it, and you just deliver the whole thing, and it just accepts the whole thing, and then the job is done. But it makes for a little bit tougher job too now, because now I got to pull a trailer over there with cargo in it that it really doesn't need. Anyhow, on we go. Just up ahead here, we take a little turn to the left and then a little turn to the right, and the sideboard trailer is right there on the side. You can see it from here. Now, we've driven by here a few times, and I was wondering what that was for. And finally, after all these many hours of driving in this game, I finally realized that that's one task, not 2 separate ones. Anyhow, we're going to tackle it today, and we're going to pull the whole thing up there. Now, the Mercer R230 is not going to set any land records. He's a little slow. He's got a decent amount of fuel, 320 liters of fuel. He's got an extra, I believe, 40 liters of fuel on the roof. I'm not quite sure in that. And then repair parts, of course. It doesn't use a lot of fuel. When it labors, it uses a little bit more, of course, but normally it's quite fuel efficient. So we're going to take this and hook it up to this sideboard trailer, pull it through the flooded town, and then head off left up ahead and go over top of the hill. First, we got to hook up to it, and we're not going to be able to do it in one little smooth motion as I was hoping for, so we're going to have to jockey the truck back and forth, but that's okay. We'll get her hooked up over here just like that. And it's off to the races. Now, I found that this truck, there's not much of a difference in driving it in automatic or high range of the low gear. Sometimes when you're going really slow and you can see it shifting back and forth, then I would use the high range. But other than that, I would just leave it in automatic. It's a very capable truck. Not a lot slows him down, but when he does, he goes a little bit slower, but that's okay. He chugs through it. And every once in a while, he does get stopped. He doesn't like the really deep mud, and there's some issues, of course. He's not the most powerful truck in the game, but that's why we have Mr. Winch with us, and every once in a while, when we do have trouble, we throw out the winch and help ourselves out and pull us through. Now, at the end over here, we got to head off just down. We got to make one turn, and then we got to hang off left to go over top of the hill that we're sitting beside. Now, as you can see, the location marker jumped onto the screen for a second and is gone again. Don't let that fool you. The Southern Lighthouse is a little bit away. And we got a few little problems that we're going to be coming up against along the way. Now the nice thing is, like I said, you know, we might not be going fast, but sometimes that can be a pro. I mean, sometimes you forget to slow down a little bit where the road's a little uneven or there's a big rock crack in the rocks that you're trying to go over top of. So sometimes you're better off going a little bit slower anyhow. And the Mercer will help you out in that. But it is a fun truck to drive. Now normally you can put a 2 cargo slot flat deck on the back, or you can put a fuel tank, or there's a couple of other little things you can put. There's not a lot of add-ons, and you know, and then if you put certain add-ons on, it takes certain add-ons off, you know. So this is the formation that I liked, but it's really only 1 cargo slot, but we're not carrying anything. So now issues like this here, you got to go slow through these little turns. And where you go up and down, sometimes it's a little bit of an angle from left to right. So you got to make sure you don't tip over sideways. The problem, if you tip over sideways, you'll take the trailer with you. And once the trailer falls over sideways, the cargo becomes unpacked. And when that happens, then you're going to need a rescue truck with a crane out. Now we got a few watery patches, places that we got to go through, and there's really not a lot we can do with it. The best thing to do when you're not sure where to drive is to stay close by where there's a tree that you can winch on and pull yourself forward. That way, if you get stuck, at least there's a way out. Now here I wasn't too sure which way to go, but I think it's to the right there. You got to climb up those rocks and then beyond. Sometimes it's just a matter of having your wheels turned the right way. But like I said, there's always Mr. Winch to help you out. Now this particular hill, when you come over the top, has got a pretty steep decline in elevation here all of a sudden really quickly, so you got to be careful. And rather than staying on the side of the hill, because you can continue on here or you can go down, and I prefer to go down. I want to get off that tiny little ledge. That hill is just a little bit too steep, so we'll get down the water side and you can just drive along beside the water. There again, we normally drive through here with some of the bigger trucks and we don't have much of an issue. Now the Mercer, not being quite as powerful, can do the same thing, but just at a little bit slower pace, that's all. Now over here, I wasn't quite sure whether I should go around those two trees in front of me, and I was looking to see how deep the water was there, and I couldn't quite tell, but I'm pretty sure that I've gone through here before. So I thought I'd give it a chance. I'll give it a shot. Wow, I was really surprised that it was as deep as it was. And I was doubly surprised that the Mercer kept going. Most trucks, when they go down that deep into the water, you're pretty well toast. And when there's a current in the water too, you got to make sure you start turning before where you want to go to get out, because otherwise the current will just push you past the point of no return. And then you're heading out to sea. Now up here, you can climb over top, or you can go in front of it through the water if there's mud down there. Now I've come through here a few times. And down below, you can drive through there. With the bigger trucks, it's a little bit easier. There again, with the Mercer, it goes a little bit slower, but it's one or the other. They're both you go about the same speed because you got to climb up the little hill and climb back down. And I just find this a little bit easier to do this. Especially when you're pulling a trailer, some of those little climbs where you got to go around the tree and come back down are a little tight, so it's a little bit straighter coming along the water. So that's why I go this way. Now, of course, you can only go this way for as long as there's a place to drive through the water. That's still a little bit beachy area in front of you, just like this one here. I mean, there's a little island on the right-hand side, so you know it's not going to be very deep. And now just up ahead here, just past these next two trees on the left-hand side, there's another little outcropping, and you have to go around it on the left-hand side, up on the land. Because in the water, there is no, it's deep. It goes straight down. There is no mud or sand to drive on, so you have to go around. Now on the left-hand side, all the way along here, there's, I don't know what you call them, the little ravines or rain troughs, but I was looking to see if you could climb up one of those, because you would cut out a lot of travel along the beach, but that seems pretty steep with the trailer. If it was just a truck, I would have done it. But we'll go this way, and then we'll go to the end where we can climb out and get onto the highway, and then it just becomes a half circle, and I end up on the other side. Anyhow, it's just a little bit longer way around, but it's safer. And sometimes the safer way, longer way, is the best way. They throw a lot of detours into this game, as you know, and some of them are good. Some of them work really well, and some of them work to pull you in to get you stuck in a big trough of mud for a while. But not today. Today we want to get this cargo and this, well, mainly the sideboard trailer, I suppose. We're not worried about the cargo. We just want to make sure that the trailer gets delivered. Here we just climb out until we get to the highway, but one thing I'd like to mention, you see those little signs on the side of the highway that tells the drivers that the road is turning? If you run into one of those and get it stuck behind your wheels or under your wheels or whatever, not always, but sometimes the game gets a little excited and doesn't like it. It throws your truck around and weird things can happen, so try to miss them if you can. It might just save you a big headache down the road. Now when I was driving along here, I got the feeling that I was supposed to make a turn here somewhere, and I couldn't remember where. So I had to, because up ahead the bridge is broken, and I know for a fact that we didn't go over the bridge, or weren't supposed to. Then I realized it was right here that we got a turn, so I stopped in the right spot. Changed the time of day so we could see where we were driving, and I'll use that as the reason that I didn't know it was here that we had to turn, because it was too dark. That's my excuse. So here we go four-wheeling, and we're going to go over top, or not over top, actually, we're climbing the hill, and we're going off towards the left-hand side of the map where the southern tower is. We're going a little bit of an angle down. So we got to climb up, because these towers, of course, are always up high. If they're inland a ways, and this one is. Most of this kind of driving is pretty straightforward for the Mercer. I mean, you just follow the track, and it's not too much of an issue. Of course, every once in a while, they like to throw something like that, like these broken rocks in front of you, but that's okay. drop-off location marker is still there on the screen, and we're getting closer. Still got a couple of little muddy areas to contend with. See, there's a trailer stuck in the mud up ahead there. I would imagine we're going to be pulling that out sooner or later for one of the tasks up ahead. But for the time being, we're just going to leave it sit there. Not that we could take it with us anyhow. Now we just got to climb up onto the rocks and turn to the right here. Like I said, that's quite the hole there in between the rocks to try and climb over. But like I said, if you line your truck up right, it's going to be okay. Well, we're going to be getting pretty close here now. It looks like we're getting pretty close to the top of the hill. And the water, as you can see it through the side there, so that must mean we're getting pretty close to the edge of the hill where the lighthouse is going to be, because I think it overlooks the port. It's like being on the top of the world. I guess even right at the top of the hill, we're going to have little watery mud holes, I suppose. Now with this particular one, we got to turn to the right, and you can go on either side of these trees. But on the right-hand side, there doesn't look to be any mud or anything, and you don't know how deep it is. So with that in mind, I'm going to go to the left-hand side of these trees because it's muddy, but at least I got trees to winch on, so I can pull myself forward if I get stuck. Like I said, I'm not sure how deep that water would be, so we're just going to avoid it. If we don't need to know how deep it is. I tell you, the Mercer, she's struggling a little bit, but not stopping. She's not giving up. Definitely a good addition to the fleet, I would say. He can take care of a lot of little jobs that are short, easy to do, where there's not a lot of room to maneuver. Yeah, I think we're going to keep him. I think we're going to keep him and use him a little more often. Okay, that's one more little mud pit to go, I believe. Might be the last one. This one doesn't look too bad. It's sure a drag on the truck sometimes, but you know that when you play in SnowRunner, you have to have a little bit of patience. Because that's just sometimes that's the way the game is played. As we're coming out of this little mud hole, we're right at the edge of the mountain, and we should be able to see the port when we get to the corner there. And once we get around the corner, we should be able to see the Southern Lighthouse. Like I said, it's just like sitting on top of the world. Be careful over here. Take your time going around those corners. We're so close now, we don't want to flip the truck or the trailer now. There's the lighthouse. Awesome. Well, this was a little bit longer journey than most of my videos, but well worth it. Looks like it's going to be another successful delivery. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you back at OpenFed Gaming again real soon. And if you don't want to miss any of the upcoming videos, so we got some good ones coming up, hit that subscribe button. And until the next time, we've been driving in a Mercer R230, delivering a sideboard trailer over to the Southern Lighthouse, with me as your driver, the OpenFed.